We all think of communication as pretty simple, right? You ask a question, you get an answer. But what happens when you get a message that connects ancient Chinese folklore to artificial intelligence just to answer a basic medical question? Is it nonsense, or is it a sign of a mind that's just running on a totally different operating system? Today, we're diving into a communication puzzle that really forces us to ask a tough question. Are we even listening the right way?
Okay, so take a look at this. This is a direct quote from the email we're talking about. Now, don't worry about the Dutch, just look at the ingredients. In one sentence, we have Chinese mythology, a Dutch TV show, ancient philosophy, and a personal medical problem all mixed together. It looks chaotic, isn't it? But what if it's not? Stick with me because there's a powerful logic hidden inside.
And that really gets us to the heart of it. Are we looking at a confusing jumble of words, a stream of consciousness, or are we being invited to learn a completely different way of thinking? Is the message broken, or is our way of listening just too rigid to hear it?
Okay, Section 1, an unconventional email. Before we can even start to decode that response, you have to see the question that started it all, because it's the contrast between the two that tells the whole story.
So on one side, you have this incredibly simple, direct question from a healthcare administrator. Can you tell me the result of your research? That's it. And on the other side, you get this, a sprawling, complex answer from a man named Mr. Verhage. He doesn't just give a result, he gives a worldview. This isn't just a simple mismatch, it's a clash of realities.
All right, Section 2, a different kind of logic. So how in the world do we begin to understand a message like this? Well, we can't use a normal decoder ring. We have to learn its unique language. And the amazing part is, the author actually gives us the dictionary himself.
First, he calls himself a dyslexic system thinker, Now, it's really important to get this. He's not talking about a reading difficulty. He's describing a cognitive style, a way of seeing the world that's all about making connections. Think of it like this. While most of us see individual trees, he's seeing the entire forest, the root system, and the weather patterns all at once.
And this brings us to the goal of his email. It's to give them what he calls ein plaatje, which means a complete picture. He's not trying to write a sentence, he's trying to hand over a fully assembled 3D model of his entire reality so they can see it exactly as he does. And get this, he even takes a common word, ezelsbruggetje. For most people, it's just a simple mnemonic device, a memory trick. But for him, it's the fundamental engine of his logic. It's the act of taking two totally separate ideas, A and B, and fusing them together into a new, single concept. This is literally how he builds his worldview.
So, Section 3, connecting the dots. Now that we have his dictionary, what looked like random noise starts to look a lot more like a detailed blueprint.
All those references he made to neuroscience, to AI, to pop culture, they aren't just random facts he's throwing in. They are the essential connection points in his mental network. Every single one is a deliberate choice he's making to build that final picture. Let's look at a couple.
He brings up the orbitofrontal cortex, a part of the brain involved in decision-making and emotion. He's basically making a biological argument. He's saying, if you truly understood my picture, our brains would literally sync up. It's a fascinating and deeply personal way to ask for shared understanding.
Then he compares his mind to reinforcement learning in AI. And this is such a brilliant metaphor. He's saying, my condition isn't chaos, it's an algorithm. My thinking is a valid system, it follows a pattern, but the medical system's software, well, it can't open my file. And that is the absolute key here. We're not reading a list of points from A to Z. We're looking at a mind map. His communication isn't sequential, it's holographic. You have to see it all at once, because every part reflects the whole.
Section 4, the charge of discrimination. So once you start to see the logic, you can also feel the deep, deep frustration behind it all. Because for Mr. Verhage, this isn't some academic exercise. It's a fight for his own validity.
He says it himself, right there in the email. I am a dyslexic system thinker and am always discriminated against because of it. He believes that the very way his brain is wired is the reason he is constantly misunderstood and dismissed.
And this isn't just a feeling for him, he points to specific examples. He feels his doctor has a monotropic mind, a linear mind that just can't see his integrated picture. He feels the system at large ignores his unique skills and just forces him into what he calls a golden revolving door of bureaucracy that solves nothing.
So it all boils down to this one fundamental conflict, a communication mismatch. His three-dimensional, visual, web-like thinking is crashing head-on into a system that only wants simple, one-dimensional, categorized information.
And that brings us to the final section, a plea to be seen. Because this whole complicated email, it wasn't really an answer to their question. It was a profound plea to just be seen and understood for who he is.
And here's the incredible part. He's not just pointing out the problem, he's actively trying to build a bridge himself. He's using AI tools like Notebook LM as his own personal translator to take his complex, integrated picture and flatten it into a structured report that a linear system can finally, hopefully, understand.
And that's the real takeaway. This email was never just about getting a medical result. It was a live demonstration of a different way of thinking. And it was a passionate plea for that process, that way of seeing the world, to finally be recognized as valid.
Which leaves us all with one big question to think about. When we encounter a message that doesn't fit our neat and tidy boxes, is our first instinct to dismiss the message as incoherent? Or should we maybe stop and question whether the system itself is the thing that's too small to listen?